Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from Annie News, and today we're checking out what you need to know for Overlord Season 4. It's going to be nice to have a little bit of a catch-up. I can't wait for it to come back, man. Overlord is going to be absolutely sick. I don't know how long it's been since Season 3, but it'd be nice to have a catch-up beforehand. So let's see what we need to know before Season 4 with this video from Annie News.
With Season 4 now less than a month away, and Season 3 having happened almost 4 years ago,
What?
I figure now would be a good time to give you guys
No way has it been that long.
Not just a
That's
recap of the events of Season 3, but instead an actual explanation as to where we are with the story.
Cool.
A thorough breakdown of Ainz's quest for world domination so far. So, if you've ever wondered why certain things happened the way they did, or just been confused about all this scheming and manipulating, this should definitely be able to clear them up a bit. You'll be able to hop into Season 4 knowing exactly what to expect from it. World domination. That's the goal in which
Domination is such a cool thing that he's doing. It's like, let's take it
I
over.
didn't know that was the case until the beginning of Season 3, but the idea wasn't as bad as he initially thought it was. Remember, Ainz's goal from the very beginning was to gain a reputation that would attract the attention of other Yggdrasil.
Yeah, he's trying to find if there's anybody else out there, isn't he?
Way to do it, but it was certainly one of the most effective. Especially since operating in secrecy was becoming increasingly problematic. You see, Nazaryk's current desire to keep themselves hidden was a significant hindrance on how they could operate. There was this constant limitation on what they could do and who they could send to the field.
Well, yeah, because if you're always going to attract attention, like being this powerful.
The others could do whatever they wanted. Issues like Shelter's mind control could easily be investigated without any worry whatsoever. So, it was only natural for Domination to suggest a more overt approach, one that would culminate in Nazaryk establishing itself as a country. As for the
I can't wait to see what happens next, man. I can't wait. It's going to be so cool.
By intricately manipulating the spread of certain information, Demiurge was able to trick the Empire into setting up an invasion. By using Fluter to leak the tomb's position to the Emperor, Demiurge knew the Empire would have no choice but to react.
So clever. Demiurge is such a genius, man.
Wasn't something that they could just simply leave unchecked. So, after having come across some supposedly vital information, the Emperor decided to come up with a plan of his own. He would manipulate a disgraced noble into hiring a bunch of workers, then task those workers with investigating these ruins. The reason he was doing so through a noble was mainly so he couldn't be held accountable. You see, should the workers get captured and subsequently interrogated, then there was no way the Emperor could be held directly responsible for it.
Right, passing on the blame.
If the workers succeeded and were able to make it out, then the best case scenario was the destabilization of the relationship between Ainz and the kingdom. Plus, he would have gained valuable intel on what exactly he was dealing with. That being the case, you gotta give Jerkniv props for coming up with such a clever plan here.
Yeah, fair enough, like, nice one, lad.
If he hadn't been set up to lose from the very beginning, then this cautious approach to an unknown entity would have been one of the safer ones. As we already know, though, every move the Empire made was all part of Demiurge's plan. Not only was the invasion
I love it. He's so goddamn clever.
Overall defenses, but the Empire's inevitable defeat would force so
the way Ainz just goes along with it. It's like, oh yeah, that was my plan all along.
Responsible. Ainz's demand for an apology would ensure a meeting with the Emperor, resulting in the start of a cooperative relationship with them. Before we get to that, though, there was something interesting that had formed from the aftermath of the invasion. A secret unit led by Albedo herself, in which its only purpose was to find or investigate claims of the presence of other supreme beings.
Oh, right, okay, cool.
Nothing was said about what would happen after they were found, but considering the unit's strength and its level of secrecy, one can only speculate that it's not what Ainz actually thinks it's for. Especially when you consider that Albedo was the one who personally suggested it. In any case, it was after Aura and Mare had paid their little visit to the Empire that Jerkniv would have no choice but to immediately...
It's amazing how powerful just the Floor Guardians are. It's just like, oh...
feeling far more helpless than he could have imagined. Initially, he thought he could blackmail Mare or bribe Ainz into cooperation, but after seeing just a fraction of the immense power he possessed, his only hope was to stall for a time while he formed an alliance. He thought perhaps a grand coalition with the kingdom and theocracy would provide the necessary strength.
Excuse me.
Of course, that very notion was too ridiculous to even consider, but when faced with such overwhelming authority, Jerkniv knew the only way to survive was to fight. He felt a compulsive need to form some kind of countermeasure against him, and this was the only one that he could come up with. Due to the time it would take to make it happen, though, the only thing Jerkniv could do for now was play along. At least that way he could manipulate Ainz into a more favorable position.
We can try to, anyway.
What I mean is that if he was to help Ainz in establishing his country here, then the other nations would have no choice but to pay attention to it. Since Ainz was an area of common interest for all three of them, it was only natural his sudden takeover would force them to react.
Definitely.
And that was the gamble Jerknev was counting on. If he could somehow get Ainz to demonstrate just how dangerous he was,
a lot of games going on in this, isn't there? It's like, you do that move, I'll do this move.
That would be the basis behind his push for this grand coalition. Once again, though, Jerknev was yet to realize that the odds were already stacked against him. You see, Demiurge had already predicted that he would try to betray them and, as a result, come up with a plan of his own. One that took clear advantage of the situation Jerknev was trying to lead them into. If the Empire's intentions were to eventually oppose Ainz, then all Ainz needed to do was demonstrate the consequences of doing so. It just so happened that those consequences would be dealt to the kingdom. So, it was in the span of only a couple months that the Empire would declare their alliance with the Sorcerer King's nation, establish the basis for their annual war with the kingdom, then follow it up with the movement of 60,000 troops to the location.
Let's go.
The kingdom would respond with 250,000 troops of their own, but they truly believed it was a severe overestimation for what they were dealing with.
Now.
Even with Gossif telling them it was a bad idea, the nobles refused to acknowledge Ainz's ability. The most they were willing to give to face
what a mistake to make. Oh mate, the fight with Ainz as well and him is just like,
aww. This next point isn't really anything important, but it is an entertaining detail from the battle. You see, when Ainz had showed up with his small platoon of 500, the scouts from the kingdom had spotted something quite troubling. What they saw was a group of monsters riding soul eaters. Legendary undead that had once wreaked havoc in the country.
Whoa, that looks sick.
As the story goes, it was after 3 had appeared in a highly populated city that the casualties they made were estimated to be over 100,000.
Jesus.
95% of the city's population was called for souls. So, if only 3 were capable of killing 100,000, then one could only imagine the damage that 500 could do.
Yeah, that's insane.
It was the first sign that perhaps the kingdom was up against something they couldn't handle, leading the Marquis to give the order to withdraw. But, as I'm sure you remember, retreat was no longer an option.
Nope, you're all screwed.
The process of casting his super tier magic, the single spell that would end the battle before it even began. So, with Arantel...
God, I hope they've worked on the CG for this season.
It was the following parade that really wanted to secure it as their own. You see, unless Albedo had put on that little charade with Pandora's actor, then there would always be the potential of the people starting a rebellion. If they could get the people to cooperate willingly, though, then that would be the most ideal way of ruling them. So, by having Momon publicly declare that he was weaker than them, the people would understand the level of power of what they were dealing with. Then, by having this figure of justice join the enemy as a watchdog, the people could rest easy knowing that nothing evil would happen. So long as they didn't disrespect Ainz or act out of line, the people could find a little comfort knowing that Momon was looking out for them. Of course, many still wanted to incite a rebellion, but Momon insisted that they shouldn't. He forced the citizens to become aware that they were now hostages being used against him. He didn't want them to worry that any harm would come to them, but he also did want them to know that rebellion would only make his life harder.
Yeah, man.
I mean, for a hero like him to be executing civilians, the people could only imagine how much pain that would bring to him. So, out of respect for this kind and courageous hero, the civilians heeded his words and decided to see things through with him. If there did ever come a time where they found Ainz to be unreasonable, though, then they could always just voice their concerns to him.
Just say,
speak
up.
Act
Speak up, people.
It's natural for the people to not trust an evil being who just killed 180,000.
Yeah, man, what?
There wasn't a single person in the city who wouldn't trust this hero. So, with Momon having just given up everything for the sake of the people would repay him by following his wishes. It was the perfect plot to make Arantel far more peaceful than anyone could ever imagine. But yeah, that's where we are in the end of Season 3.
Oh my god.
Where that brings us to then in Season 4
Let's go.
is the immediate aftermath of Ainz starting this new kingdom.
Sick.
A place you'll quickly find out many of the other nations can't simply ignore. So, not only will we get the perspectives of each of the nations and their reactions, but we'll also get to see how Ainz cleverly subverts their expectations.
Sick.
There'll be plenty more of Ainz making little of what many others consider to be extremely significant. All of which builds towards his ultimate goal of finding other Yggdrasil players.
I hope the opening song's cool as well. All the other openings have been sick, haven't they been so far?
And as always, thanks again to everyone who gave a super thanks comment in the last video. If you want your name shown at the end of the next video, then feel free to leave one yourself.
Mate, I can't wait for Season 4 of Overlord. It's going to be so sick. The last 3 seasons have been absolutely amazing. And yeah, I just can't wait to see what Ainz does next. So yeah, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video upload, link in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month or less helps support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. I'll see you guys next time.